Hi everyone, my name is Katja, I'm CatColouring, and a warm welcome back to my channel, whether you are a new or an old subscriber. Today's video is a review of the Languo Gel Pens from China. You may know them from TikTok or from Instagram like I do. But before we begin looking at them, if you are in a warm place, grab yourself something very nice and cold to drink. Or if you are in a cold place, grab yourself a nice cup of coffee or a warm mug of tea. Sit back, relax, and let's get started. Okay, so let's start by looking at what we are dealing with. And you saw all of these gel pens in my recent summer art haul. So if you haven't seen that, you can go watch it after this review. But they come in large sets, all of these gel pens, and in a lot of different colors, I just have to say. And you can see I have a lot of notes in between the boxes. And that is because, of course, you have already guessed it, I have translated all of the names. And I have made a swatch chart that I will show you in just a minute. And to that swatch chart, I will also make a document with all of these sets and the names of the pencils, or not pencils, I'm just used to reviewing pencils, all of the gel pens inside. So if you are interested, you can get it in my coffee shop. Well, I bought these from Temu, but I know from Color with Claire that you can also buy them, and a lot of people buy them on TikTok, because apparently I'm not on TikTok myself, but apparently there are a lot of people selling stuff, coloring stuff and supplies on TikTok, and some people are complaining in videos on YouTube that it has become some sort of a retail seller's market or whatever it's called. But you can see here we have different sets. We have the smaller sets with 4 in. They are called Languo Plus, and these are glitter gel pens. These have a thicker point than the others, which have quite a thin point. This is a 1 millimeter point, and can't remember what this one was. This is a 0.6 millimeter point. So these are also a bit more easy to work with because they have a thicker point than the others. These, as I said, are called Plus. They are both glitter gel pens, but they also change some sort of color. They have sort of 2 colors. I will show you in a minute on my swatch chart. So I have a few of these. They have amazing names. These are called Exploding Fireworks or Bright Fireworks. This is the forest one, Exploding Forest of Fire. This one was called Exploding Night Magic, and this one was called Exploding Dreams, with the colors Mermaid Tears and Coral Sea, Daydream, and Aurora Silver. So they have some absolutely wonderful and fantasy-like names. You will find everything in these gel pen sets, and I only have 208 here, and this includes that I have this highlight set with 3 gold, 3 silver, and 3 white gel pens. You can see here they are called different sorts of things. Here you have some sort of, it's not called skin tones, this is more beige, brownish colors. Then we have neon colors, both light and a bit darker of the neon colors. You have skin colors, light and a tiny bit darker. You have the Miranda sets, which are different sorts of sets of colors, perhaps not covered in the other sets, the style sets. You can see here, this is more of a pastel set, but then it goes on to a lot of different colors. And then we have these styles that we have colorful black, which is normal colors, and then there is black in it, so it's very dark colors. We have green style, blue, purple, I have lipstick, I have pink, and I have 2 sorts of yellows, the reddish yellows and the warm yellows. So let's get all of these gel pens away, and let's look at the swatch chart that I have already made, because this is even more interesting to look at. So here we have the swatch chart, and I have made it in a size so you can clearly see the colors. You can see down here we have all of these shiny style and plus and flash sets. And up here we begin with the style sets with the yellow and reddish yellow, pink set, the red lipstick, the purple, and so on. So you can see all of these colors, and you can see that some of them down here, we have this mallard set that I showed you with the sort of beige pinkish colors, which also looks a lot like skin tones to me. We have the neon colors here in the middle. You can see here with the white, I did have a lot of trouble getting the white out of that pen, and I tried 2 of the different white pens, so it got, well, you know, quite of kind of muddy, but otherwise I think that the ink flowed quite well from them. I have to get used to coloring with a point so thin, like 0.6 millimeters. I'm really not used to that. I think that the Posca pens I have, they are even thicker than this one. But you can see down here, I also have the sketch set, which ends with a black. So there is a black in all of these sets. And as I said, you can get a lot of different colors, and there are also sets beyond the ones that I have. But this was a set consisting of these 208 gel pens that I could get from Temu, and I paid less than 500 kroner for these, so it was really not that expensive. They are cheap compared to other gel pens, and they really have a nice coverage and a wonderful color range, so you can do a lot of things with these gel pens. You can see down here with the shiny ones that we have normal glitter colors, but then here it switches. So if, I really hope you can see it, it sort of has a normal color and then a shiny glitter color on top. So this one, for instance, it has a green underlayer and then a upper layer of a more purple color. This one, more bluish turquoise color on top of a green. Here we have a yellow undertone and then green glitter on top. And it continues down here. You can see in this one is pink with a purple bluish glitter on top. So these are the so-called flash colors. So they have actually 2 colors, and it depends on the light and how you layer them down. Some of them were also a bit easier. The last one here, I think it was a mermaid tears. I really had trouble activating that. It was like it was a bit dried out, but I did manage to get it. But otherwise, I didn't have any problems getting the gel pens out. Now these are gel pens, so I am going to test them like I do in different sorts of coloring books on different sorts of paper to see how they behave, and is to see if they bleed through. You can see this is normal printing paper, and most of the normal colors did not bleed through. I can see here, this was one of the very dark colors in the set I showed you, where it's a normal color and then there is black in, so the colors are really dark. But you can see down here with all of these beautiful glitter and flash colors, they have actually almost bled through all of them. You can clearly see them through the paper. But again, let me remind you, this is a normal thin printing paper. This is not a special paper, just a normal paper. So let's see how these normal colors and the special effects colors react on the different coloring books, papers that I'm going to use them on. I'm going to use them in a Johanna Basford book, a Maria Trolle book, a Hanna Karlsson book, and I think I will throw in another book. I will also try them on some Amazon paper book, just to see how all of this behaves. So let's begin looking at how they do in these coloring books. Magical Jungle, and I have this page with the leaves, and I really want to continue using this as a test page, you know, just to fill up some of these leaves. So let's grab this set, a Morandi set, and take some of these colors, and then let's color this leaf. So this will not be, you know, not that much about the blending and so on. Let's take some of these more yellow toned colors and just see how they perform. But you can see that the color flows really nicely from these gel pens. So it's actually called Languo Blue Fruit. That's the name of the brand, Languo and then Blue Fruit. And the manufacturer is also called something with blue fruit. I found that out when I began translating the writing on the different sorts of boxes with these gel pens in them. It has a nice coverage, and as I said, the ink flows really, really nicely. So let's take another one of these colors. Yeah, I think this is the set here where it begins with the black and then goes here. So these are the colors we have. Well, I can certainly feel a difference from coloring pencils to these gel pens. Just have to say that it's a bit different to color with such a fine tip. So let's just stop there, because I can always color the rest. And they are not altogether that easy to get in and out of these. Perhaps you could buy a large pencil case and keep them in that pencil case, because these small plastic boxes they're in, they are not that handy. But they do have very, very beautiful names. And very, well, different names. I mean, here in the West, we just say, well, this is blue, then we have navy blue and light blue. Perhaps we have a dark blue and so on. But here it's, well, it's called Magical Night or Mermaid Tears or Sweetheart Powder or Cheese Yellow. I mean, the names are just so very different from the way that we name pencils. And this is something I have also found out when I translated the Woomer pencils. Well, they were in English. No, it was the Marie's oil-colored pencils that I translated. So, or was it also the Woomer? I can't remember. I have translated so much from Japanese and Chinese. So you can see here, it's not like working with coloring pencils, because coloring pencils give such a nice surface and you can layer and you can blend and so on. So if I have to be quite honest, I think that gel pens, especially with a thin tip or point like this, perhaps is best in smaller areas like these stripes on this leaf. I do like the coloring pencils more. So why should you use these? Well, let me just find one of those glitter sets. I think that we will take this one. This was called the Exploding Bright Fireworks. And it's down here, these 4 colors. And they certainly also were some of the colors that bled through. So let's just take the darkest one of these. because you can see I have a glitter or metallic effect on the edges of all of these leaves. So let's just take this one. Oh, actually, I've completely forgotten something which is almost a crime in my head. I had forgotten to put a paper behind. And I have such a nice page on the back. So I really hope it doesn't bleed through and ruin this one. So I will just very lightly lay some of this down just to see. Really, really hope this doesn't bleed through and ruin the coloring on the other page. I'm really so proud of that page. But we have to have some color down to see it. And you can see it's a bit more scratchy with the bigger tips here. With the 1 millimeter tip, you can hear it a bit scratchy on this paper, at least. Perhaps it's different in another book. Okay, so we have gotten some color down. I will just, because you can see it's, well, I hope you can see it, it's actually wet when you lay it down, especially these colors, they are quite wet. So I will just let it dry a bit and then I will turn the page and see if it did bleed through. I really, really hope not, but it's still wet down here. But all in all, it's, well, nice. I mean, it's not coloring pencils, and I will shut up about the coloring pencils, but it does give a nice coverage here. So let's just try. We'll just point my finger here and we can see this is the tip, so it should be up here. Certainly isn't a red color or anything. No, I don't think it bled through. No, it didn't. So no bleed through here in this Johanna Basford book. Really nice. Really nice. I'll just take it up to the camera so you can see the result better. So a nice coverage, especially with the glitter pens. I think that they do give a little better of a coverage than the normal gel pens, but I'm not that used to coloring with gel pens because I've used coloring pencils for so long, so could also just be me. But that was a nice surprise, and luckily it didn't bleed through. So I will just take this paper here just in case it's not completely dry, and let's have a look at another book. Maria Trolle, Twilight Garden. I don't have a test page because they're all used up, but I thought that if I just colored a feather here, and I will just try out the blue style set. This is the one we can see here. So it says blue style, but it actually begins with a turquoise and more aquamarine tones before we have a couple of blue colors. So let's just begin. And I have remembered a piece of paper behind right now. So let's just, begin with a blue color. A nice flow yet again in this book, and it's like this paper sort of well, you can see it's wet. If I just put it up to the camera, I hope you can see it's wet when it gets down. It's like it's gets pulled down into the paper because this paper has more tooth than the paper in Johanna Basford's The Magical Jungle. It's more a sort of a smooth surface there. Let's switch color. To the next one. So when you work with these, you have to be patient for them to dry. So know just if something, you want to get rid of some Well, you will have to be careful not to smudge it. And switch colors. Oh, that was perhaps a little bit too light. I think that we will not take the next one because that's quite dark. Let's just take this one. The good thing about these gel pens is that you can certainly make a lot of details with them. Let's take this one. No, I actually think so. Let's try to color on top. Let's try to use this blue one, light blue one. So I will just wait for that to dry because now I have changed my mind. This will also be a good opportunity to see if we can color on top. Just have to. Oh yes. So if I accidentally use the wrong color, I can let it dry. I don't think it's quite dry, and then I can use another gel pen just like that on top and correct it. So let's now use this color. So again, I don't think that these gel pens are for large areas. Really think that they will shine in smaller areas where you can use them to give some detail. Perhaps, you know, use them to on top of black lines and smaller details like in flowers or leaves or something like that. I think I will use this one. Okay, so first impression works really nicely on the paper, a bit scratchy. Let's just let it dry a little bit, and then you can see it just needs to dry a little bit here, and then see if it has bled through to the other side. No, it has not bled through here. Absolutely not. So those were the normal colors, but let's try out some of these flash glitter colors. So let's try this set with some of these flash glitter colors. And where can we use it? Well, perhaps we could just add some details, or we can use some on the other feather. Let's just use this color on the feather. So where the thin gel pens down here were scratchy, well, you can hear them, but it's like, again, because this tip is a bit thicker, it's more easy to lay down this color. Than with the finer tips. Let's try this color. So this will be really exciting if this, or interesting to see, I would rather say, to see if this one let me just try another color. I mean, if you want to blend them, I think you will have to be quick before they dry, so it's not as easy to blend like the coloring pencils, but I'm just coloring here, so let's take a closer look in just a minute when I'm done with this color. Let's just bring it up to the camera. I hope you can see this. I think if you really want to blend, you have to be quick, and blend it into each other. It's also like when these dry, the color is a bit different than when it's wet. Oh yes, this is absolutely that. So this is the one which is not that good to use because it's sort of feels like it's dried out a bit. Hope you can still see it. Oh. It certainly has a beautiful effect. So when you look at it down here, let me tell you that this line is sort of purple-like. Then we have a blue round here. The second line I did with what looked like a dark green pencil. It's reddish brown, and then we have a green turquoise color from the last one. So when I look at it, the light is different. Then it's the blue and green tones, but here I can still see that the first of the green colors, this one, gets in the right light, it has a red tone, reddish orange tone. So these are really colors that change with the light. Really hope you can see it. It's so difficult to capture something like this on camera. Okay, and now for the most interesting part. Did it bleed through? No, it did not bleed through this paper. Really, really great. It would have been sad if I had ruined that page, but no. And now it's dry and it's just really beautiful. I like these colors. But I also like glitter, so no surprise there. Okay, good performance on this paper. Let's try them out in yet another book. Hannah Carson, this is Seasons that I'm still working on, and this is my test page that I haven't finished. Let's try this set. This is sort of a rainbow set, and you can see the colors right here. Just have to find them just to be absolutely certain. Okay, so it begins here with the purple, the blue, then we have the green, yellow, orange, and red. So these are completely normal glitter colors. They don't shift any color. They are just glitter colors. And let's just color this key. But these were also some of the colors that bled through, especially the orange and the red. So let's use the red one for the ribbon. And let's hope it doesn't bleed through. I haven't colored the other page, so if there is some bleed through, I can salvage it. It's really more difficult with a page that has already been colored. I mean, that is really, really not easy to salvage. And I will show you how you can fix ruined pages in an upcoming episode of my tips and tricks for beginner colorists. Really nice to work with on this paper. I mean, you can hear the sound of them, but they don't feel scratchy. So let's switch to another color so we don't just use the yellow. Let's use some of the orange because that certainly bled through. And well, weird color combination. Let's use some of the blue. But really, really nice normal glitter colors. And then the red for this ribbon. And as you can see, still a little bit wet, especially with the ribbon. So we will just have to wait until it dries before I can look at the other side and see if it did bleed through. Hopefully not. In the meantime, I can write here so I can remember what medium I have tested. Okay, not completely dry with the ribbon. They do take some time to dry, these gel pens. Okay. Oh, look here. We do have a little tiny bleed through here. That was the orange color. You can actually see a little bit of the orange color here. And look here, the red ribbon. It does bleed through. Nothing with the yellow and the blue a little bit. So the yellow, that's safe to color with. That was the yellow here. It's okay with the yellow, but the blue and the orange and especially the red. You can see here. You can see them. It's not much, so it's not a complete bleed through. So if you use a darker color around here, this is the background on this drawing, then we can't see it. So it's absolutely, you can save that page, but be careful. This set, if you use them in coloring books on paper, some of the colors, like the orange and red, the blue, probably also this purple, is also quite dark in the color. You can see it here. They will simply bleed through. The green, you can see here, orange and red, and the purple and the blue, but you can see here with the yellow and the green, not that much. So my assumption is that the green and the yellow will be all right to use, but the others you have to be really careful and use a paper which is actually thicker than this one. And this is quite thick paper, but let us try in a book with some really, really thick paper that I have. Just for the fun of it, I have tried 3 different gel pens from Languo on this paper. I tried a normal gel pen right here. Then I tried one of these flash pens right here. And then I took the red one from this set that I have just tried out in Hannah Carlson's book and tried it here. So 3 different sorts: a normal gel pens, a glitter gel pen, a flash gel pen. And if we look at the result, the normal gel pen doesn't bleed through. You can, well, see I've used a gel pen. It's a little bit dented here. But here you can clearly see both the flash and the normal glitter, they bleed through quite a lot. So I would have to say, these, be extremely careful to use them in a book with Amazon paper. This was the new book I have just showed you on my channel, Midnight Ocean Wonders by Myra Rouse. This is Amazon paper. It's not that thick, and these will bleed through. Of course, it's single-sided, so you could use them, but you would have to have paper behind to prevent bleed through to the next page. And, well, be careful. For the normal gel pens you can use without having to fear about bleed through on this paper. But again, be careful with these ones. The only book I know of with thicker paper than Hannah Carlson and Maria Trolle books is, of course, Fairy Tales and Folklore. And, you know, all of these pages are so gorgeous. I don't want to ruin any of them. So I have found the last page of the book. This is a page where we get some author info about Emilie Lidehel Øberg. And down here we have a very little illustration with a couple of leaves and a star. So I will begin using the purple colors, just normal gel pens down here. Let me just try these out. I have put a paper behind, but I'm not expecting any bleed through with these normal gel pens from Languo, because this is really thick paper, and these have not bled through on any sort of paper, not even the thin printing paper. I mean, you can see that I have used it. You can see the dent from the pressure, but they didn't bleed through. So I'm not expecting any surprises here. So let's just turn this around, and you can see no bleed through. Okay, so let's try these glitter gel pens out. I have here the flash. This is the ones I used in Myra Rouse. So let's use one of these for the star. So this is one of these flash gel pens. And remember, it actually didn't bleed through in Johanna Bastford on that paper. But that was also I think we will have to try the rainbow ones out yet again, because these were certainly the problem before. I will use the green one to color this leaf. And then we will remember that the orange was also quite likely to bleed through. So let's color this leaf orange. So this is going to be our little test page on this paper. And let's try the red one, because that certainly bled through even more than the orange. So this will just be covered in red, no patterns, nothing. And let's take the darkest one of them, also the purple, down here. And just for the fun of it, let's take the blue one. I won't bother with the yellow one, because we already know that that really doesn't bleed through. Okay, so now you can see it's wet. So I will have to let it dry before we can turn the page and see whether or not it did bleed through. So when working with these, you really have to be patient and wait for it to dry. I don't think that my other gel pens, they don't take as long time to dry as these, but they are also really filled with pigment and glitter. So they are really good. And I mean, even though it did bleed through, the colors are gorgeous. So you can't say anything about the gorgeous colors because they are really, really gorgeous. But of course it is a problem if some of these types of gel pens bleed through in the coloring books, because I know that this is where people use them in coloring books. And I think it's more to add some details. Still wet. I will carefully remove this paper. And then I will not lay it completely down because I will just see if it bleeds through. I cannot see the star. Well, perhaps if I do this, I can see the star was there. So I can see it a little bit here. I can actually see, but I can see the leaves. I can certainly see the leaves. So if I bring it up to the camera, it's not bleed through, but I can see the colors, or I can see it's been colored through the paper. And this, as I said, is the thickest paper I know of in coloring books. But you can actually see it. It's not even a question of lighting. You simply can see the outlines of these leaves and the leaves themselves. But the star is a bit more difficult and you cannot see the normal gel pen at all. So I really like this set. I think the colors are so gorgeous, but I would never use them in a coloring book without having tested it first, because you can see that in all sorts of different papers, they do bleed through and you will be able to see them. And even this really thick paper, which can handle water and everything, you can see the leaves. It hasn't bled through, it hasn't, but you can see it. So if you, for example, let's say we color the leaves and flowers down here with these glitter gel pens, and then we could see the outlines of them on this page. So I wouldn't recommend using them in coloring books. Not this set anyway, because this is absolutely the worst of all of these sets to bleed through. So what can we conclude from the review of these Languo gel pens? They are extremely pigmented. They are really nice and easy to use, most of them. There are a couple that just have to be activated a little bit more. If you want to see how you can activate them more and get the ink to flow, you can watch Color with Claire's video about them. I will link it down in the description box. I will not talk that much about price, because you can also see some of the price in her video, but I can just say that you can get them on Temu. Don't have to buy them through TikTok sellers, and they are certainly cheap for so many gel pens for this price, and I have to say they are worth every penny, because they have a lot of ink, and unlike the jelly rolls that I have had a lot of problems with from Sakura, and they are certainly more expensive, these are just absolutely easy to use and gorgeous in the colors. But for us colorists, then we have to be aware that the normal gel pens work great on the different sorts of papers in a lot of different sorts of coloring books, thin and thick, but the glitter gel pens, and especially this rainbow set, really bleeds through a lot of the different sort of papers in the books. So if you want to use the glitter colors, I would certainly recommend you to test them out first and see if they bleed through. And remember, they do take some time to dry. So thank you so much for watching this review. I hope that you liked it, and I hope certainly that you got a little bit wiser about these Languo gel pens. If you haven't really heard about them, perhaps you even want to invest in some of them. Please give this video a like, a thumbs up, really helps my channel. And also, if you're new here on the channel, check out the playlists on my channel and consider subscribing. Upcoming videos, flip-throughs of new coloring books, including Hannah Carlson's Halloween. It's coming, it's close now. We only have to wait a couple of weeks now, and then we will have it. Also upcoming new episodes in my tips and tricks for beginner colorists, and more reviews, of course. So until I see you in the next video, have a lovely day. Take care of yourself. Happy coloring. Bye.